Welcome to the Nytro Marketing. Marketer, I'm Stan Berteloot, your host and presenter today.
And I am Snezhi Todorova, the moderator. Hello, everyone.
Right, Snezhi, and today is going to be really fun. I am delighted to do this event with you. So we both work for Nytro Marketing, which is a global marketing agency. And you play a critical role at Nytro. You serve as a global marketing manager, project manager for some of our largest accounts, including SAP and SecureWorks, just to name a few.
That's correct, and thank you for the introduction, Stan. I would also like to introduce you to our guests today. You have decades of experience in marketing and communications. Your background is in journalism, and you spent your career working in software companies, both in house and as an external consultant. You've always been an early adopter using an ADSL connection to research your stories at Reuters almost 30 years ago. And finding your first job through a Usenet group in 1995 earned you a spot on the front page of a magazine, which is amazing. So today, once again, as an early adopter, you're going to talk about ChatGPT in this live session of the Nytro Marketeer. We at Nytro Marketing aim to ignite conversations with innovative marketeers across the tech industry, from vibrant startups to Fortune 100 giants, and I'm delighted to see so many of you joining us today. So welcome.
Yeah, Usenet. Wow, that was a while back, just before the job board and all that. Yeah, we have an incredible crowd today. I see some of you are already saying that you are calling from Sofia. Uh, this is where you are, right?
Hi, yes, correct. I'm based in Sofia, and hello to my fellows here in Bulgaria. I see people from Germany. I see people from the United States and Canada. And you're based in Princeton, right,
I am
Stan?
in Princeton, absolutely. Princeton, New Jersey, where we have a lot of haze, smoke from the wildfire. This is incredible. But yeah, so please use the chat box, use the comment box wherever you are calling from to let us know where you are from. And we are going to kick it off, right?
Yes, and if you have questions, please put them also in the chat. It's a large group today, but we'll do our best to answer those questions.
Right. So let me dive in, and so yeah, let me get my slide right there. I think one of the things we need to be aware of is that a lot of people are afraid of AI. A lot of people think that AI will take away their job, and the reality is that it is probably going to happen, right? So we need to be very careful with that. And one of the things that we need to do is not to be complacent. We should really watch out for prompt engineering. If you do poor prompt engineering, you are not going to get good result. If you don't do your research, ChatGPT is not going to help you. If you don't have any subject understanding about what you are using ChatGPT about, probably you are going to make mistakes, right? So we need to understand what is our value as human being, and we need to use ChatGPT to improve on that. Unlike this lawyer here, Stephen Schwartz, you might have heard of this story, but the guy who I think had 30 years of experience became extremely lazy one day. And in order to defend one of his clients who was suing an airline, he asked ChatGPT to write a 10-page brief where he cited more than half a dozen relevant court decisions. Well, guess what? All those court decisions were an invention of ChatGPT, right? So we need to have pride in our work. We are a marketer, we are professional, we know what we are doing most of the time. We should use ChatGPT as a tool, but we should stay on top of it. Before I go any further, please take your phone, scan this code. This way you are going to go to a form where you can just request the cheat sheet that I've prepared for you. So most of the stuff I'm going to be covering today will be in that cheat sheet. Make sure you scan it. If you didn't do it, you will have an opportunity to do it later, like on this page. So today, we are going to be talking about how to generate content, how to generate good quality content, how to expand your potential as a marketer, maybe getting you a little bit beyond your area of expertise in domain that you are just exploring today. I consider ChatGPT to be like a research assistant, and I'm going to show you how to do that. We are also going to cover visuals. ChatGPT is text, but it's also visual, and I'm going to show you how to do that. And at the end of this session, Snezhi and I will tell you about plugins and how ChatGPT is now able to access the web. So I use ChatGPT as a thought partner. It's really, most of us are remote today, and we don't have that colleague we used to go to for like those very advanced Excel formula or stuff like that. And today, having ChatGPT on my desktop is like having that colleague next to me that I can run idea and brainstorm idea with. When I've got a question about technical topic, I can just say, hey, how do you do that formula or stuff? So it's really a thought partner. It also helped me in content creation. It helped me in research, in branding, in data cleaning. And as a marketer, we do a lot of data cleaning, right? It's an incredible brainstorming and creativity partner also. And I do some coding. I will show you how I don't know anything about coding, but I've been able to do amazing stuff with that.
So Stan, you're actually using ChatGPT for content creation, you mentioned. And we know that in marketing, content is king. But from my experience, sometimes the style is not so good, or you can easily tell it was written by a machine. Not to mention, sometimes it provides incorrect information, as we already discussed. How do you handle that?
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right. And this is maybe the most important lesson of this session, using persona, using the right prompt. So when you start a conversation with ChatGPT, make sure you start with the sentence like act as a, or you are a expert in cryptocurrency. Just to give you an example, I will detail later on. So you always give ChatGPT a persona. You try to tell ChatGPT the tone and the language and the content of the copy, the context, how this copy is going to be used, who is the audience of what you are working on. You give it as much information as you can, like the number of words, the style and the tone. Be specific, and the more specific you are in your prompt, the better the result will be. Let me give you an example right there. So you see on the prompt level here, I say you are a middle school teacher, and in simple term, within 50 words, please explain what hemophilia is for your student. Right? So I gave it act as a school teacher, or you are a school teacher. Simple term, 50 words. What is hemophilia? And the context of the usage is going to be for your students, right? And here we've got a pretty good yet simple explanation of hemophilia that students in middle school might be able to understand. They even explain what does it mean to be inherited, meaning it is passed from parents to their children. Now in this prompt, same question, but different prompt. You are a physician specialist of hemophilia. Write 50 words explaining what is hemophilia for PhD researcher familiar with medical term. And as you can read here, the same answer is very different. It is very specific, and it is really something that a child would not understand, but that a physician will be able digest.
So we see here that the same question with the different persona actually gives a totally different level of expertise in the answer. But tell us how you produce engaging and valuable content. Is there a methodology that you're following or applying?
Absolutely. And so Snezhi, this is my methodology. Things are changing extremely fast with ChatGPT and with AI in general. So I'm not saying this is the best way to do it. And by the way, if you have ideas and if you have tips that have worked for you, make sure you share them in the content. What I like to do is use the capacity that ChatGPT has to summarize text, right? So I will start by doing my research on a specific topic I want to write about. I will find good articles. I will ask ChatGPT to summarize those articles. And then I will paste together those 3-4 articles that I found. And I will ask it to produce new content. And look, if you look at this script here, you are a marketing content writer. Please combine the following articles into a single blog post of 300 words. Make sure you credit your source. So here I say, from Steve Philip for March 10, 2023. So the source is there, the summary of the content, there I've got another story, etc. ChatGPT produce a brand new story where it is actually giving the source right there. We see Philip from Forbes. And then we've got a summary of the sources. So you see how by feeding factual information, giving a good prompt, being extremely detailed in what I want, I'm able to get content. But again, before you do anything with that content, be smart about it. First of all, you are a professional, so you may want to rewrite some of that. You want also to always double check everything. Don't take it for granted. Maybe ChatGPT has mixed up stuff. Maybe the sources are not properly attributed. So, be smart about it. Don't be like that lawyer, and make sure you check everything.
As somebody in the chat already said, fact-checking is actually the greatest challenge of our era. So thank you for the reminder on this.
Absolutely. And I should actually, I'm fighting with my windows here. Okay, now I see the chat. Thank you.
That's the challenge of an early adopter, I guess.
Yeah. So, moving on.
Tell us about applying frameworks. I know that you've been doing this, but tell us, how does that work?
Yeah, so this is something which I find extremely interesting with ChatGPT. You can actually use it for different purposes. You can use framework for different purposes. Here in this case, I'm asking ChatGPT to apply the framework of a style book, which is very known in the US. It's sort of a Bible called The Element of Style. And tell me in the chat if you know The Element of Style. I'm sure if you're a writer, you will know it. And I'm saying, look, apply the Element of Style guideline to this text and tell me what you've done. I don't want it to change my text without telling me what it is going to do. And here ChatGPT said, okay, I have changed the title to more concise and to be more concise and active. I have replaced navigating with managing for clarity and simplicity, etc., etc. So, that this is challenging. I'm going like, okay, those are good suggestions. I may apply some of those suggestions and I may not apply some of the suggestions. So, right. So hold on. I'm looking at the comment.
Philip is confirming his knowledgeable on the elements of style. Thank you, Philip. And Jacqueline, I see your comment on the keywords and the SEO when we're prompting ChatGPT to create a blog, for example. So I agree, this is really important and key.
Absolutely. And that might be a framework, actually, where you say, okay, this is what we want to do. The framework is going to be using it in this industry. So yeah, what kind of keyword should I find? You can do stuff like that. Indeed.
And Stan, you also mentioned sometimes you're using ChatGPT for research, but yet we need to be careful and not blindly trust that, right?
Absolutely. And just, I wanted to add something about writing before we move on to research.
Mm-hmm.
In this context, and this is again a framework, I'm asking ChatGPT to help me improve a text which is very full of jargon, very specific to an industry, the cryptocurrency. So I'm giving it a persona. You're a financial expert in the blockchain innovation. Please tell me what in the following text might be hard to understand for the casual reader, and how to improve the text to reach a wider audience of potential investor. So you see, my prompt is extremely accurate, give ChatGPT good understanding of what I am trying to achieve, and please explain your rationale, I say, right? So again, ChatGPT is going to analyze the text and give me tons of feedback regarding how to make this text better. And I find that extremely powerful. Right, so research. And you're right, I said that it can jump start your research. And in this example, I'm looking for the largest electric automaker. And notice how I've asked it to format it in a list. So some of you may not know that, but ChatGPT can easily do tables or the list that will help you organize your thought. You can even copy paste that in Excel. So this is a good way to go about doing your research. Again, don't take it for granted. Check your sources. But the good news is that here we've got the URL, so we can quickly go to the website, etc. I'm not saying this is 100% true, but it's a good start as you do that. How do you add a table? We are being asked. Well, you don't add table. You just say format it as a table or draw a table. This is part of the prompt.
And can you export it, Stan?
I can. Yeah, I've been successfully copy pasting them in Excel or in Google Sheet. Yeah.
Perfect.
Right. Another way that I've successfully used ChatGPT for research is in branding exercise. I was looking for colors, being creative about colors, doing mood boards, etc. And here I said, you are a brand specialist researching new brand color for a client, a software company in the healthcare industry. List 5 companies using orange as their primary color. Format a table with company name, areas of expertise, URL, and X code of the orange. So you see, this is coming up as a list. If you guys are familiar with those brands, Fanta, EasyJet, Home Depot, they are indeed using orange as a color. I've got the URL to their website. I've got their area of expertise, and I've got the web code for the color orange. And now I say, create an orange slightly darker than SoundCloud, format a table with the new orange, give it a name, by the way, I'm being a little bit lazy here, and find 2 secondary color. So ChatGPT is doing that for me, amazing. Again, I'm not a designer. Maybe I would take that to a designer and say, how can you improve on that? This is what I found. Those companies are using orange, etc., etc. But it will definitely give you a head start.
And we have a couple of questions in the chat, Stan. We have Adi asking if we can ask ChatGPT to provide links to relevant topics instead of providing the research itself.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we can. Nowadays we can. ChatGPT, if you've got the Plus version, will be able to do some web research for you. I don't find it to be working 100% of the time, but I will give you an example where it works. Yes.
And Nancy is asking if the session is being recorded. We can confirm that.
It is being recorded, and you had the opportunity to scan a QR code at the beginning so that you get the cheat sheet at the after this session, you will have another QR code coming up, later on the slides, where you will be able to do that. It is recorded, and you will get the cheat sheets.
Perfect. Okay, Stan. So far you told us how to give ChatGPT a persona and how to write specific detailed prompts to generate better outputs. You showed us also how to apply frameworks and how to generate content based on a summary or selection of articles. But what else can we as marketeers use ChatGPT for?
Well, as I said in the introduction, as a marketer, especially in my early days, I spent a lot of time doing data extraction. And one of the issues we've got when we are faced with, in this example, a text full of email address. In this example, I think you've got like 12 or 13 email address. So you could spend some time doing copy, paste, and extracting the email address. In other contexts, you can have like hundreds of page where you want to parse to extract a pattern of character. So that was the problem that I gave ChatGPT. I also told ChatGPT I was using Google Workplace, and I prompted it to write a script. And as we see here, so ChatGPT is actually giving me an answer saying, "Oh, I see. You would like to use Google App Script to do this. You can open blah, 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 blah." So ChatGPT is actually having a conversation with me. ChatGPT understands what I want. It understands my constraint, and it is guiding me step by step in order to do that. And it's really amazing, the level of detail that it will give me. So I've got my Google Sheet here. I've got my Google Doc with the email list, in the text. I've got the Google Sheet where I want the extraction to take place. I open the apt script, and I'm going to paste this code, which I copied right here, into the script. I will run it, and ta-da! We've got the email extracted right there in this list. I mean, the first time I did that, it blew my mind.
That's pretty cool. And I can imagine you can use that for many other challenges that marketeers face nowadays.
Absolutely. So
one question is if we have all of this working in the free version or only in the paid version?
I believe that you can do stuff like that in the free version. I'm using the paid version, which is quicker, more advanced, but the free version, ChatGPT 3.5, will generate script definitely. Mm-hmm. In the free, it works, but some quotas. Yeah, so we've got. Let me display those chat here. The screen may be a little bit crowded, but yeah. We'll see if it works. Right, moving on.
We also had a question regarding the QR code, but we'll show it at the end once again because some people were not able to scan it and download the slides. Okay.
So here I had a very complex issue, and as a marketer, I think you can relate to that. I wanted to segment a database. I wanted to map job title to a few specific titles, right? You know how, for example, someone working in as a CIO could be a chief information officer, could be a VP of innovation, could be a digital whatever. A job title has so many variables. If you want to segment your database on job title, you need to have your own categories of key job title. You may have other solution to go about it, but this is my way to go about it. I list key job titles. So in this example, I've got IT, sales and marketing, operation, finance, and I'm going to match those guys. How long is the session? The session was planned for 20 minutes. I think we are going to go over by 15 minutes. But anyway, so the idea was to ask ChatGPT how to go about it, and I had no idea. So I had a back and forth conversation with ChatGPT, and ChatGPT provided me a detailed instruction to install Python on my Mac. I'm using a Mac, writing the code, and how to set it up in Excel. So this time I was using Excel on my machine. And as a result, thousands of contacts were updated in seconds. So you see here I'm using HubSpot. Marketo is a HubSpot partner. I've got the list of jobs, which are actually labeled sample data. So I sampled some data. I labeled some of my data to get it started. And then this Python script produced this amazing result. And again, don't be shy to really have a conversation with ChatGPT where you ask for guidance. And here I've got, I mean, it really took some time to say, step one, do that, step two, do that. This is just incredible. I even
That's a Sorry, go ahead.
yeah. I even copy pasted the Excel in the prompt, because at some stage we were having an argument, ChatGPT and myself, about what the Excel would look like. And I gave him an example, and he said, "Okay, well, since your Excel looks like that, this is what you need to do." So that was amazing.
Yeah, it's truly amazing. And you actually don't have a background in IT development, as far as I know.
I know.
Right?
And next thing you know,
Coding.
it was processing data using natural language processing, NLP.
Yeah.
So that was fantastic.
And how long did it take for you to come up with this?
Well, I think today it would take me like half an hour. Originally, it took me maybe 2 or 3 hours, because I was really struggling to just formulate that. Quite often the challenge is, how do you formulate that? How, what it is you actually want. If you don't know what you want, you cannot ask it, right? So that's why it was a long back and forth with ChatGPT.
But the thing is, now you can reuse it.
Absolutely,
anytime.
I can reuse it. Yeah.
Perfect. Now we're moving on to the second part of this session with some tips on how to use ChatGPT. And we've outlined here some of the most common ones that we think will be valuable for you. Starting with go on. I found that really interesting, because sometimes when you write a prompt in ChatGPT, which requires a longer answer, perhaps, ChatGPT stops at some point. It just stops for some reason. So if you write go on, it will continue, and it will generate the answer until the end. Sometimes maybe you don't have a very clear prompt given, or maybe ChatGPT does not really understand what you want them to do, and it will start generating an answer that was different from what you expected. And at this point, you can also write stop generating and just add additional instructions to make clear your request. As mentioned previously by Stan, we can also convert text to graph, which was also surprising for me, because I always thought ChatGPT can only do content and coding. And with some of the paid version features, you can also enable web browsing. You can add plugins. And one very important thing is that with ChatGPT, you can thread your conversation. This means that it saves all the conversations, and you can go back to them whenever you want to. You can share them with your team members. You can rename them. And it also remembers, right? So it remembers what you were discussing, the persona, you gave them the instructions, and you can continue at some point the conversation from where you stopped. So this is really powerful and useful to continue using.
Absolutely. Thank you, Snezhi. Yeah, we've got a screenshot to illustrate that. Oh, first of all, I want to come back here. You saw the QR code here. If you missed it, make sure you scan it now. It will take you a form where you can get the cheat sheets. And I saw the comment about downloading the slide. I will provide the slide too. How could you refer to a previous conversation in example? Well, I mean, this is exactly what Snezhi was talking about. I keep my conversation here. I name them. Since I've given them prompt and persona, I can go back to the conversation, and I know that ChatGPT is going to act as whatever persona I gave it. ChatGPT will also have digested all the information I provided, so the answer will be more accurate. So this is how I go back to a previous conversation. And as Snezhi said, you can click there in order to share that with your colleagues. Moving on.
There was a question about the plugin, but
yeah, plugin is coming up. This is amazing, and that's actually one of our clients from Via Medici who pointed that out to me. So thank you so much, Christina. I copy pasted this research paper into ChatGPT. It's a very complex thing. I don't have any idea what it's about, but as ChatGPT itself said, oh, it's quite complex, and that touches upon various aspects of human cell structure and function. However, I said, okay, take this text and draw a graph using dot, so dot, period, dot, which is a language. And then you can copy paste the code generated into a visualization software available for free on the internet. I will give you the name in a minute. And you get this kind of graph. You don't get that within ChatGPT because ChatGPT provides you the code, but you get this kind of graph from the visualization tool, which is called edotor.net. That's one of it. You've got various versions. In this example, I said, please write in dot the following organization chart for a company, and I give the structure with a CEO at the top who oversee the 5 executives, the CEO, the CFO, blah, blah, blah. So it's a very basic structure, and ChatGPT is displaying that. So again, I find that quite amazing. Now, moving on to plugins. If you've got the paid version, which is $20 a month, you have the ability to go to setting and enable web browsing and the plugin. So you click on your name at the bottom left, you go to settings, and then you go to beta features, and you toggle the button so that you enable browsing and plugins. Once you've enabled the plugins, you will be able to go to the plugin library. You've got a drop-down button. And before I speak about that, you see here on the data control, you can hide the history of your communication, of your exchange with ChatGPT. This is important for data privacy. I don't know how much more private it makes it. I think you still need to be prudent when using confidential information in ChatGPT. I know that many companies are forbidding their employees to use ChatGPT. So be prudent, but I think it's a level to do that. So once you've enabled the plugins, you will have access to a plugin library. And this is just amazing. Every day you go back to it and you see new plugin coming up. That will enable you to connect to external sources. I will show you an example in a minute. One of the plugins which I like, which I'm starting to play with, is Prompt Perfect. So in this example, I start my prompt with perfect, and I say, write 150 words about SEO. So here, this is really a very bad prompt, right? From everything we discussed today, this is not accurate. I didn't give a persona anything. But ChatGPT, now that it is using this plugin, is actually rewriting the prompt this way, right? So from a couple of words, 4 or 5 words, I end up with a full paragraph describing what I want, and ChatGPT then produced a pretty good article about it. So yeah, as we saw here, this is only possible if we have, it's only possible with the paid version, as I said. Let me display the chat again so you guys can continue the conversation here. And as a LinkedIn user said, it is actually becoming a marketplace. So in this example is about web browsing, and that was a question we had at the beginning of the session. Now that ChatGPT 4, the paid version, is open to the web, you can do research which are more recent than 2021. In this example, it is citing a source from 2022. You've got a URL, as we discussed, and you even have those little index that will tell you what the source is, right? So this is brand new. I don't find it to be always working, but it's an interesting development. In this example, I'm using a plugin from Expedia, and I'm asking it to do some flight research at a certain time frame. It lists flights, and it takes me to the Expedia page. In this example, I'm doing grocery shopping, and it's quite amusing. Do my groceries for a week, family of 3, make sure you include a lot of vegetables, no restriction. I live in Princeton, New Jersey. And sure enough, here is my grocery cart with tons of vegetables. So again, I think it's just use cases at the moment. I'm not sure anybody is going to do their shopping on ChatGPT, but it really shows how AI can really play a big role in marketing and e-commerce and all that. So this, I'm just saying, watch this space. We are getting at the end of the session, so if you have any question, make sure you put them in the chat. In this example, I'm using a plugin called Show Me. And in this case, the graph is actually done in ChatGPT itself. It's not taking me outside of ChatGPT. And I believe that if I click on it, it will, you see, you can edit this diagram if you want to make any change. So I've got the link here that will take me to the place where I can download the graph. So we covered a lot of things today, guys. I think the most important thing we talked about is the persona. The persona is really going to make a difference in the content generated. So giving it a persona, giving context, being specific is going to be super important for the quality of what you produce. Going to plugin, to settings will enable you to start web browsing and enabling plugins. When ChatGPT stops, just say go on. Not everybody know that. It is sometimes very frustrating because you see a full article being produced and it stops. You don't have to start over. If you say go on, it will continue. Fact checking is everything. Yes, indeed, you need to check everything. You are human, you are creative, you have emotion, and so far this is pretty unique to us. And everything I said might expire tomorrow because this is a moving place. So don't take everything for granted. You need to educate yourself. You need to watch out. If we want to keep our job, we need to be smart and cautious about the way we use those tools, and everything will be okay. Again, make sure you fill this form. I only need your email address to make sure I can send you the slides and the cheat sheet. And I missed it. Sorry, you mentioned it in there.
Yeah, there is a question regarding free Chrome extensions powered by
I
ChatGPT that
didn't,
we would
yeah,
recommend.
I didn't cover it. Uh, I'm not sure about it. I played with some of those. I'm really worried about the privacy of the data using those extension. And honestly, I find it very convenient using, having a tab with ChatGPT. So for my personal usage, I didn't find it very convenient, but maybe it has use cases which I've missing. Uh, on next week, on June, same time, same place, on June 15th, I've got another session. We're going to talk about AI, but in this case, about product development. AI is really, really changing the way we're thinking of product. Uh, and I'm going to ask Oliver Quell, who is an amazing product manager, an amazing marketer with decades of experience. The guy has been behind the success of many companies. He's a serial entrepreneur. Should AI be a priority in product development? How product leaders measure the success of their team, and how product leader should work with marketing and sales team in order to work the go-to-market strategy of their product. So if you are interested in product development, if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a developer, you may be interested to join Oliver and I next week for this session. Uh, so this is the Nytro Marketer. It's a new show from Nytro Marketing. And as Snezhi said in the beginning, the idea is really to create a discussion among us, among professional marketers, growth hackers, and everything in between about what is marketing and how our profession is evolving. Uh, if you have a story that you want to share, this is another QR code you may want to scan and just enter your detail. Tell me a little bit about you, and I would love to have you on the show. That is an amazing opportunity for us to create a thought, um, the thought of a think tank about marketing where we come together and talk about those new tools, talk about challenges. The first session was about, how to make sure you get the right skills in order to move on from one job to another as a CMO. So it's constant education, and I think that by sharing our expertise with one another, we can create great stuff. So thank you, everyone. I'm sorry we're a little bit above time,
I
right?
see all the positive comments, and I think it was worth it. So,
Okay, good.
Stan, thank you very much for the insightful discussion, and thank you everyone for joining us today. It's simply amazing to see so many people from all over the world. And it's also fascinating because we are here together uh, thanks to technology and because of AI. So this is still the human side, I think, of technology. We hope the session was helpful, and we would love to hear from you on other topics that you're interested in, as Stan said. So please feel free to reach out to us directly. And wishing you all to stay well and talk soon.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. Thank you, Snezhi, and see you soon. Bye bye.
See you soon.